Starting in three, two, and one. Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Jace, and I will be your host for today's webinar, where we will be discussing the push-crash cycle and why good days can lead to harder weeks. I will be inviting our guest speaker, Sharon Jones, to take the stage soon here, but first, we want to thank you so much for joining us. We know that your time is very valuable, and we're grateful that you've chosen to spend a little bit of your day with us here. Today's webinar is brought to you by us all here at Bridging Illness to Income, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping individuals with chronic illness build sustainable income and long-term financial stability. Our mission is to help remove the financial barriers that health challenges can create through education, resources, and support. Because living with chronic illness often means navigating medical expenses, missed work, reduced hours, and financial uncertainty. Today's webinar is a part of our commitment to providing practical education that helps people improve both their health and financial well-being. Before we begin, just a couple of housekeeping items and some ground rules. Everybody, please remain muted during the presentation. If you have questions for Sharon, feel free to drop them in the chat throughout the webinar, and we'll answer as many as we can get to during the Q&A at the end. Please feel free to grab a drink, get comfortable, and settle in. We hope that you leave today with some practical tools and encouragement that you could apply to your own health journey. Now it is my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Sharon Jones. Sharon is an autoimmune resilience coach, the founder of Empowered Pathways, and the creator of SJ Resilience Coaching. She is also the host of the podcast, Thrive with Sharon, Real Talk for Chronic Illness Warriors. As someone living with ankylosing spondylitis, Sharon understands firsthand the challenges of autoimmune disease and invisible illness. Through her coaching, she helps women living with chronic illness, fatigue, burnout, and nervous system stress build healthier routines, improve symptom awareness, strengthen emotional resilience, and create sustainable habits that support long-term well-being. Today, she will be sharing why so many people experience the push-crash cycle and why those good days can sometimes lead to those harder weeks, as well as practical strategies for pacing yourself, protecting your energy, and creating more balance. We're so very grateful that she is here to join us today with her expertise and lived experience. Please join me in welcoming Sharon Jones. Feel free to take the floor.
Thank you so much, Jace, and thank you, Kaylee, for having me here today. I really appreciate it. So, as you said, I am Sharon, resilience coach, and I do live daily with ankylosing spondylitis. I would also like to thank everybody else for being here today, and it is a very privilege for me to be here. So, for years, I've watched women do everything they were told to read more, eat better, and push through. But yet we still feel trapped between the good days and the crashes, and that's why I created Empowered Pathways. So my name is Sharon. I'm an autoimmune resilience coach with Empowered Pathways and someone who also lives with ankylosing spondylitis. So while I've spent many years studying chronic illness, supporting women through coaching and developing practical strategies, I also understand what it feels like to wake up and wonder what kind of day your body is going to give you. I know what it's like to have the plans that you've been looking forward to, only to be told by your body that your body has other ideas. And I know what it feels like to finally have a good day and then feel tempted to get everything done, and you've been putting it off because you know when you'll feel well again. So it is a tough one. It's a hard one to deal with when we do suffer with chronic pain. And there's so many different autoimmune and chronic illnesses out there that we just don't get what we're going through some days, and we do push through. So that's one reason why I'm so passionate about the work I do, because over the years, I've realized something that changed the way I support women, because most women aren't struggling because they aren't trying hard enough. They're often trying incredibly hard. They're doing the research, they're seeing their specialists, they're changing their diets, and they're doing everything they can to manage their health. But one thing that has ever helped them understand the patterns is how to the quality and to shape their everyday lives is what I found. I tried to fit everything into one day and then would crash and burn the next day for a week or 2 weeks. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today together. So my hope is by the end of this session, you'll leave not just with a few practical ideas, but with a completely different way of understanding why those good days can sometimes lead to harder weeks. And if that happens, then today will have been well worth the time we've spent together. I do have some slides here and I'll just move them along. Hopefully they'll move for me. So, okay, so the transition, why? How many times have you ever gone out of the house, you've had your good days where you finally caught up with everything, only to spend the next few days completely wiped out? So if that's happened to you, type a yes in the chat. So, and looking in at that chat, we've got a few people there stating yes. And this is the hard thing because we don't realize that going through what we've been through and pushing through, it does get hard. It doesn't take away, it doesn't stop. It's ongoing. So when we push through, how does that feel to you? You've spent that day, you've done everything you've wanted, you felt amazing, and then you're like, whoa, you wake up the next morning and think, why did I do what I did? We all do it. We struggle because we just think we're going to have this great day, we're going to do it, we're going to get through. And I know how we plan and we go through it and we're just, okay, let's do this. We can do it. So going through that and you work through it, you wake up the next day, and then how do you cope? What do you do? How is that working for you? It doesn't, because again, we're put back again and again and again. And every time we do, we push harder, we fall back again. And it's just a cycle that we do. So it's that push through cycle where we constantly try. I tried for many, many years and then realized this just doesn't work. And I still do it today. I'm very guilty of it today. I will get up in the morning and I go off to the gym, and I've just gone back to the gym. I've started Pilates Reformer because I can't do anything else. My body just won't let me do anything else. But I still, the next day after my gym session, and it's very easy on the body, I wake up and I'm sore some mornings. And we just have to we go, okay. And as women, we push through, and there's a lot of males out there too that have this disease. They do have ankylosing spondylitis. And the strange thing is it's predominantly known to be a male genetic disease. So when I first tried to get diagnosed with my condition, I was told, no, you don't have anything wrong with you. It's women's problems. Men have ankylosing spondylitis. The male gene carries it and they pass it on to the next male, and that's how it goes. Moving forward now, we look at there's probably 80% of women are diagnosed now more than men with ankylosing spondylitis and chronic pain and chronic disease. So trying to get my diagnosis, I had to change doctors and go and get another doctor to listen to me. And he did listen to me, although he thought I had leukemia. And he sent me off for tests. And he called me back and he said, well, you don't have leukemia, but you do have a rare autoimmune disease. You have ankylosing spondylitis. And I'm sorry to tell you, it's a rare degenerative disease and there's no cure. And you'll end up in a wheelchair in 5 years. Well, that was probably 24 years ago now. I'm not in that wheelchair. Yes, I do struggle. I do have my bad days. And 18 months ago, I had 5 surgeries in 1 year. And that year was a full year for me. It was a hard year. It was a long year. And I pushed through and I got through it. I had spinal fusion. I had cataracts removed off my eyes because of the medications I've been on for my AS. So I had 4 cataracts removed. I tried a spinal cord stimulator which was amazing. I didn't realize how much pain I was in until I had this stimulator inserted. And then I had to have 8 weeks to recover from that surgery before they go back in and put the actual stimulator into my body. I now live with the spinal cord stimulator, and it's changed my life in so many different ways, but living with a foreign body inside me has really changed how I do certain things. Like if I fly, some airports are great, some are not so good. Going to the shops, I can set the alarms off in the shops, and people are like, but you don't have anything. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't explain anymore when I go to the shops. I just set the alarms off and I keep going because I'm not stealing anything. It's just that the battery pack that sits in my bottom will set the alarms off. And I charge myself every second day. So I understand chronic pain, autoimmune, and what we live with and how hard that is. But I just want to say that there are men and women out there, and we all suffer alike. And it's very hard to get that compassion from your specialist, where you go there and you're constantly telling them there's something wrong with you, and they just don't believe you and they don't want to listen to you and they think it's all in your head. And my specialist told me it was all in my head. There was nothing wrong with me. It was all in my head and just to go away and I'd get better. And I went through 5 specialists and finally found a really older male specialist who took the time to listen to me and diagnosed me. And he then went back to the hospitals and really went off at the hospital to state that I did have a chronic illness. My body was in strife, it was struggling. And he got me the medication I needed because the medication that I'm on costs $10,000 a month. And I couldn't have that medication unless I was diagnosed. So it took me just over 10 years to get diagnosed and to get the medication, which now costs me $50 a month. So it's with the push crash cycle, I did this because after having all my surgeries, I realized that there was nothing there to support people. And I wanted something that people could come to me or just have a look on my website and just see things there and go, oh, there are things out there for us. It's not all in our heads. There is support there, and we can work together and collaborate together and work out how the best possibility is for that person living with chronic pain just to get through one more day. I get that working, even mothers. I've got 6 children, so working through it with 6 children, 2 of them with ASD, has been really hard. But as women, we live through it, we get through it, we do our day to day. And so I decided to do empowered pathways. And I wrote a book whilst I was healing. Haven't had the book published yet, but I did write a book. But the push crash cycle is what it says on your good days, how you catch up, are in tomorrow's energy, and then you crash, and then we recover and repeat. And I know how hard that can be. And when we do that cycle and which way you're going to go, and there's myths about that too. So, I should make the most of my good days. If I crash, I just need more rest. I'm just not managing my illness well. They're all myths because we can go through that every day of our lives and tell ourselves that it's our fault. It's your fault. You did this to yourself. That's why you're in that cycle of constantly pushing and crashing and pushing and crashing because you're telling your body you need to get these things done. And we don't. Take one day at a time. Pick what you're going to do for the day, even if it's only one small chore. And if you get that done, it's done. You get out of bed every morning, that's a chore. It's a chore for you to get out of bed, do what you need to do, and move on. So with the reality of that, you need to protect yourselves. Recovery is important, but easy. You need to recognize your patterns before you crash. And we all know those patterns, but we don't acknowledge them and we don't listen to ourselves because we feel judged by other people. And that could be your partner, your husband, your parents, your children, your friends. I've seen it when friends have invited me out and I've said yes. And then at the last minute, I felt, oh, I have to go. And I've gone and struggled then for the next week because I shouldn't have gone. Whereas now I say no. I hold myself accountable now. And I'm true to myself now about what happens with me, where I go, and what I do, because it's reality. And that's what every day is about. It's about making yourself accountable for you, not accountable for anybody else, and being true to yourself. Stand up for yourself and say no. If you're having that off day, just don't do it. If you need to go back to bed after you've got up, go back to bed. Spend half an hour in bed, spend a day in bed. There's always tomorrow, but you don't have to continue and go through everything on your own. There's always somebody else there to talk to. Just remember that there's always somebody there. You can always jump onto Facebook. There's people there. You can always jump on. I'm always around. I'm always available. Having that bad day, you just need somebody to go, hey, it's okay. We're okay. And I get that. It's a cycle. It's on repeat. And we just go, go, go. It's just one of those things. I think I missed a screen. I just wanted to go back to this one. So does any of this sound familiar to you? So you finally have a good day. You try to catch up on everything. You wake up exhausted again. You cancel plans because you're unsure how tomorrow will feel. You feel guilty resting while everyone else keeps going. And then you wonder, am I just doing something wrong? Put your number in the chat. Which one of them resonates with you or is familiar with you? Because I know probably all of them resonate with me. Absolutely. Number 5. Yeah. Am I just doing it wrong? And absolutely, when we're not doing it wrong, we just think that we are doing it wrong. It's a crazy world where we are made to feel that it's our fault, it's our problem, and nobody wants to listen. And it's having your family and your friends understand what you're going through. So why do my good days always seem to cost me later? It's because we're people pleasers. We want to please everybody. But we need to start with ourselves and please ourselves and know and go, it's okay. Because at the end of the day, who's struggling? Who has that pain? Not your friends, not your family, you. You're the one that's suffering through the day. And that can go on for, it could be a day, it could be 2, it could be 3 weeks, it could be a month. I've just come out of a flare. I haven't had a flare up for a couple of months, and I've just come out of a flare, which lasted 10 days, but it was a pretty full-on flare. And I just had to pull back from everything. But that's just what we have to do. And I do now, and I don't feel guilty anymore for saying no. Even when my husband said, let's go out and do dinner, and I'm just like, I just can't. I don't have the energy. And we talk about, I don't have the spoons. We talk about the spoons. We've only got so many spoons that we start off with in a day, and you're handing them spoons out. And at the end of the day, you've got none left because we've given them all out to everybody else and we haven't kept one for ourselves to go, this is my time. So that's the push crash cycle there. It's the good days, the catch up, the tomorrow's energy that we're borrowing, and then we crash. And we do it all again, and we do it every day, every week, and we continue to do it. So why did I crash? What did I do when my energy returned? I can guarantee that everybody on here, you crashed, and when your energy returned, you did the cycle all over again. Because we don't know any different, because that's what we do. And that's where we need to get out of that cycle. We need to write down just in a diary. I have a little little notebook, a little diary, and I just write in there now on a daily how I feel and two things I'm going to achieve for the day. And I go through that and then I just look at what I've achieved for the day. And if I achieve one, two, or even an extra one, that's great. But I spend a lot of time now where I have grandchildren and my granddaughters do dance and they like me to take them and they like me to be there. And a lot of my energy goes into that after working 8 hours through the day. So I do push myself there, and that's probably where I will crash because I put myself out there and my grandchildren come first and foremost. And that's where, when they're not dancing, when we're on school holidays, I take that step back and go, okay, it's time for me to rest and recover. So, what if you didn't have to figure it out alone? So, I have my empowered pathways where it's a 90-day program, but it's all about working together. It's about understanding your body, knowing your wants and needs, and how you can manage with your condition, your chronic illness, and your day-to-day regime, because only you know you best. So when you're up in the morning and you have to get ready for work, or you don't feel like going to work, but you're accountable. You're letting somebody else down if you don't go to work. But truly, you're letting yourself down if you do go to work, because this is about you and how you cope and how you go through your daily changes. I know for myself in the morning, it takes me a while to get moving because my body is so stiff. And by lunchtime, I'm generally feeling pretty good. But then by 2 o'clock, I'm exhausted. I'm ready to crash. And that's just my body. But I know my body now. I'm up at 5 in the morning. I don't sleep well at night because of my pain, but I'm up at 5. And it does take me till lunchtime to get my body fully moving. I do go to do that reformer Pilates because it's part of getting my body moving and supporting and hopefully toning my body to get my muscles more toned to support my bones. But by 2 o'clock, I am exhausted. And now I will just take half an hour where I will just either go and lay down or just sit out in the sun and just recharge for half an hour and then go back to what I need to do. Because it's about taking time for you and working with you. And it's the routines, it's understanding your patterns, building your confidence again, because I can guarantee living with chronic illness, our confidence is so low and we don't realize how low our confidence is. And you're judged every day when you go out and people see, I'm judged every day. I have a disability parking permit. And on my bad days, I park in the disabled area and I have been abused and screamed at and looked down at and told there's nothing wrong with me. And I've had a man follow me through the shopping centre, videoing me, threatening to put me on social media as being a scam artist because I parked in a disabled spot. And it's hard when we are judged every day for a condition that's invisible, that people can't see. Oh, you look normal. You are normal. There's nothing wrong with you. I don't explain to people anymore because they're not worthy of my time or my explanation. I am who I am and I suffer every day. And we all look as normal as we can. And we shouldn't have to explain to people out in the streets that we don't even know what's wrong with us, why we're walking with that shopping trolley, why we've got that walking stick, why you've got a disability parking sticker. It's got nothing to do with them. This is about you and who you are and being true to yourself. So as I say, it's understanding your patterns. And once I've got here what women tell me after working with me, I've also worked with men who have been very skeptical when they first started working with me before, but they finally understood what was happening. They stopped blaming themselves. They felt more confident, managing more energy, so they increased their energy, and they felt supported. And that's what it's about. It's about supporting each other within a group, within a team, getting your little team together and being supported. Because without that support, we feel alone as it is, because when we're in pain, you don't want to tell your partner you're in pain because they hear it oh, yeah, she's in pain again. Oh, yeah, okay. So you don't want to continuously tell them because even though they understand, we still feel judged by them. Whereas if there's a group together and you're all suffering with some form of chronic illness, you get each other and you've got that support and that understanding for each other. So you're not failing. You may simply be living inside a pattern that has never been clearly explained. And that's just understanding the pattern in its first step, and you don't have to change it alone. You can join any group. You can find a friend and just have that coffee with. We can have virtual coffee. I'm more than happy to jump on and do a virtual coffee. And it was funny because I said to Jace and Kaylee earlier, I like to be face to face. The screen for me is something different. I'm slowly getting used to the screen and doing my podcasts. And I find this really empowering that we can jump on and we can support each other and be here for each other and work out what's next. How do we do the things? So I do have a free guide there for you. You can scan that. It's just different prompts about how to manage, what to do. It's just 5 simple practices to manage autoimmune pain. There's nothing major in there. It's just 5 to 10 minutes, gentle stretching, just different things in there just to give you a quick routine. Mindset and breathing, relaxation, just everything there. I really find that the mindset and relaxation, just that breathing and that little bit of yoga stretching in the morning does really, really help. So that's basically me in a nutshell. Do we have any questions? Anybody? No question? That's okay. So Jace, can I ask you, when you've got most of them for you too, and you've got haha, so how do you feel when you look at them and you go, most of them for me?
It's sometimes a little embarrassing because I don't necessarily have like a chronic illness that I know of or a condition, but I do struggle with that pattern that I experience a lot. And like you said, having to explain that to somebody like your partner, even though they might understand, it still feels a little embarrassing, to have to carry through with that. And you feel like you're kind of being a burden at times. At least I do.
I get that, I do too, and I still do after nearly 25 years of being diagnosed, and then before then, knowing something was wrong with me and being told that's all in my head. Um,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard that that is a major issue, especially on the feminine health side of things, where their own doctors don't believe them, and it takes months, sometimes years, of hopping between doctors to actually be seen and heard. You know.
Yeah. It's a big one, and that's why I say also I brought the male into it because males are awful at telling us how they feel. Males are raised to be told that you need to be strong. You can't cry. You can't show weakness. And that's another myth. And I should put that myth in there because that is a myth. You are a human being and you are entitled to feel pain, to feel low, to feel that you are more worthy than what you are and you are deserving to have that support. And it's hard because as a woman, I know I was raised by a very strong woman who was not the mothering kind, but she was a very strong woman. So you couldn't tell her you had a pain
Mhm.
because a pain was nothing to her. It's like, go away, go and do your thing. Um, so I remember being, probably 8 years old and in horrendous pain and ending up at the hospital. And that was I was diagnosed then with migraines. Um, and I was put on a really strong psychiatric drug back then when I was 8 for migraines because they didn't understand how to manage an 8-year-old with migraine, severe migraine. So they gave me Fortril and Logactyl injections, which basically just numbed me, shut me down. I could not speak because it was a psychiatric drug. Now, my mother knew that being a nurse, but didn't stop them from doing that because it took my pain away and she didn't have to deal with me. So going through lots of different illnesses when I was younger, and then now finding that I do have an autoimmune condition, I look at other people and I do realize that men do have the hard side of things. Like it is really hard. Like I look at my husband and he's this strong, burly guy, he's got tattoos and he's bald and he's got a goatee and he's big. And I say to him, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to cry. No, no, men don't cry. We're tough. So it's instilled in you from a little boy that you can't show your emotions. You can't wear your heart on your sleeve, and it's so wrong. So we raised our boys to show emotions, to talk about their feelings, and to tell us. Our boys will call us maybe once a week, twice a week. But when they finish that call or when they see us, they kiss both mum and dad and they tell us both they love us. And friends of ours ask, how does that happen? So, well, we just raise them as boys with emotions and feelings. So I think for you, Jace, you just need to be more open with the people around you and just let them know when you're not feeling okay, that you're not, and explain to them
Mm.
how you're feeling. It's important for you to be able to express how you're feeling and not withhold it, because you do understand that when you're withholding your emotions, that pain is increasing inside you because you're not releasing how you're feeling.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, that's something that I've worked on for a lot of my life, I'd say, like just growing up, because that is how I was raised. I was raised, men are stoic, that you carry on, and that if you have a problem, you man up and forget about it. You keep pushing on.
Yeah.
But that's something that I've worked on plenty of times in my life, and I feel like I've made a lot of improvement.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm sure you have. And it's
It
good that
still
you
just
are
like
aware of
sits
it.
at the back of your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But it's good that you are aware of it and you can work on that, and even if that's just one step at a time where you work out what you want to work on and how are you going to tell your partner the next time you're not feeling the best? How will you approach that and how will you work around that rather than holding it all in yourself?
Mhm.
It
Right.
gives you something to think about.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else got any questions or any thoughts? Kaylee, what about you? What did you say? Number 5? You're
You
on
were you're
mute.
you were still muted, Kaylee.
Sorry. Yeah, I said number 5. Could you repeat what that one was? Go back to it. I
Yeah,
think it
sure.
was
I'll go back to it for you.
like feeling guilty about how other people are doing well.
Oh, went too far. There it is. So you feel guilty resting while everyone else keeps going.
Yeah, so I mean like a month ago I was in Vegas with my family and I was having a horrible flare up because I hadn't had my medicine for a while due to some insurance issues and so I just didn't want to do anything and the first couple days I did things and it was really hard. It was really painful and the next couple days I couldn't do anything because I pushed myself too hard and it was just like I felt so guilty because my family was like, "Come on, let's go hang out." And my friends were there as well and they're just like, "Why don't you want to come with us?" And I just felt really bad that I couldn't be with them.
Mm. And that's when we talk about you feel bad because you're letting them down.
Yeah.
But if
Mm.
you went, you'd be letting yourself down. You need to be true to you and hold yourself first and make sure that you're putting yourself first. Because as hard as it is, we know we feel like we're letting them down, but if you go, you're letting yourself down because your flare will last twice as long if you continue to push yourself through.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where you need to stop and go, okay, this is how I'm feeling. I can't do this today. And as hard as that is, because your friends don't understand neither what you're going through, and they can say they understand to a degree, they probably do, but you just need to be upfront and honest with them. I did a family holiday in January, and we just did a week in Bali. And that whole week, I did not get out of bed. I was so sick. I had an upper respiratory infection that I got when I was in Bali. I had a massive flare with that as well. And I just couldn't. And my husband every day would say, what are we doing today? And I was like, I just can't. I would move to the lounge and then back to bed. And he said, well, oh, this is a great holiday. And I said, well, I'm really sorry, but I can't do anything. So he holidayed on his own. And I felt really guilty. I felt really bad, but I didn't push myself to get out of bed or leave that hotel room because I just knew I wouldn't have got to the stairs anyway. I probably would have just collapsed. But I just knew I didn't have it in me. And it probably was his worst holiday ever. But it was mine too. And I was the one that was suffering. So
Yeah.
we do have to realize that we have to take that step back when we are not feeling 100% and go, is this worth it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just have to like not really care what other people think and
Yeah.
have a good group of friends that understand what you're going through and also be able to communicate how you're feeling as well. I think that's
Yeah.
the main three things that go into feeling guilty that would be a good solution to it.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely. Yeah. It's a tough one because we do look normal. So to everybody, what's wrong with you? Oh, you just don't want to do this today. You just want to go be lazy and lay in bed. And it's so hard to try and explain to people what is wrong with you. Like I used to dance, and then after my last surgery, I can't go back to do dance, and I love dance. And I go and watch the ladies, and they're like, "Oh, come back," and I'm like, "I just can't. I can't do it. I can do some of it, but I can't." And I went back to dance 4 years ago, and we competed in Sydney, and we came fourth, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was in this team of ladies, and we came fourth in Australia. It was amazing. And I felt so good. But then after having my surgeries, I just knew I couldn't go back to do something I truly love. Um, but I still go there and I watch them, and I go to Sydney and I sit there in the audience and I cheer them on and I video them. It's not the same, but I'm there with them and they get me now. They understand why. Because when I first stopped, they would pull me in and go, come on, just come and do it. Just do one class. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I won't. After 4 years, they now understand me and they get why I say no. They
Hmm.
respect me now because they now and they get me. They just understand that I am actually struggling with something. So yeah, and it's what we all need to do. We need to take that step back and just allow yourself to be true to you. That's one thing that I say. And my big thing is it's okay to not be okay. So yeah. Well, if there's nothing else, I am pretty much done. It's like
All right.
um
Well, thank you
yeah,
so much, Sharon. Thank you for joining us today. I think I speak for most of us when I say that felt incredibly insightful. It was very, very nice, and we appreciate you sharing your knowledge as well as your personal experiences with this and a few helpful techniques that maybe some people can apply in their real life with our little community today.
yeah.
And again, just to remind everybody who's either watching the pre-recorded version of this or if you are still here, Sharon has that free guide, 5 simple daily practices to manage autoimmune pain. I encourage you, go look at that, go download it. It's free, it's full of useful information and tips that you can start using right away. I would like to thank each and every one of you for joining us today. As a nonprofit, Bridging Illness to Income relies on community support to continue providing these free webinars, educational resources, and those future programs that we are planning for people living with chronic illness. If you found today's webinar helpful, One of the best ways that you could support us is by sharing our website with someone who might benefit from our mission. You can learn more about us at www.bridgingillnesstoincome.org. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Bridging Illness to Income and to follow our speaker, Ms. Sharon Jones, SJ Resilience Coach, on Instagram. Thank you all again for being here. We hope to see you again at one of our future webinars. And the rest of you guys, all have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate you, and I'll chat with you soon.
Of
All right.
course, thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you.